you for joining me. We're now getting towards the end of our build, so we're starting to add some of the finishing touches and kick this video off with the canopy. Just need to trim a little bit off the edge all around the bottom of the canopy. Don't take too much off, just cut round, leaving a tiny little overhang, and then offer it up to the plane. See if you need to tickle a bit more off, but don't hack a great load off because you ain't going to be able to put it back on. So yeah, just take some off the bottom, but leave what you think might be a slight overhang and then offer it and go from there. You can always keep trimming bits off till it's you feel it's just right. Take it from a few angles, and once you're happy, you have a couple of options really. You can either add some super glue to the inside edge of the canopy all the way around the very bottom lip. Just don't go putting too much on. You know what super glue is like, it melts into the plastic and gets on your fingers, and then you're dibbling it all over the top of the canopy. It could easily look a mess. So just put a tiny little run all the way around the bottom edge and then carefully slot it into position, and then let that dry before we move on. You don't want to be knocking it out of place. And we're going to go on to the wheels. Now the wheels, not too difficult. Now all you've got to do is find the slot situated between the two pieces of balsa. Now even with the tissue on and the spray covering, you can check on your plan diagram whereabouts these slots are, and once you're happy and you can actually see them, then just run your knife through the top of the tissue and create a tiny little slit where you can feed the wheel wires through. Once you've done that, a little bit more super glue, just run that across the top of the slit and push your wheel wire down through the hole and just wiggle it into position. Obviously you want your wheels facing out towards the tip of the wings, away from the centre of the plane, and just offer them up. Just have a look from the side, make sure they're both in line with each other, and from the front that the angles all look good. And then we're going to push into place the motor peg. Now that's situated just behind the cockpit, a few spars down from the very top. Again, you'll be able to see it through the tissue. It's essentially just a cocktail stick, so just feed it through the hole at both sides, and having made the holes, then just run a little bit of super glue on the end of an extra cocktail stick, just to run the super glue round the hole, just to harden it up a little bit, because this peg is where your rubber band, i.e. the motor, is going to be anchored to, so it needs to be fairly sturdy. So when you've added your super glue, make sure you let it dry before you put the peg into place. We don't want it glued in there because it needs to come out. So make sure the super glue is dry. You've been warned. Then we can just pop the two exhausts on the nose of the plane. Again, check the diagram, the plan, just to see where they actually fit. Now it's not essential that you're absolutely bob on, but what is fairly important is once you've put one in place, make sure you line the opposite side up to the first exhaust so that they're both sat in the same place, i.e. the same distance back from the nose, and the same distance up the side of the nose, just so they match. And then for the canopy, I used a acrylic pen. I just used a black coloured acrylic pen. You can get different thicknesses, so just have a look into that. You could use a paintbrush. I've seen people mask off the lines. The lines are on the canopy, so it's just a matter of deciding which way you want to go. I just freehanded it with an acrylic pen. Other people have masked off the lines and then used a paintbrush. I dare say there are people out there that are good enough to use a airbrush, but as you will have seen in my last video, if you joined me, my skills are not quite up to such detailed lines yet, so acrylic pen it was for me. And just take your time. You do get a few seconds to be able to rub any errors off and have another go, so it's not life and death. Then we're going to put on the, I think they call them decals, but I'm not sure that they're just the actual pictures are just printed onto paper. It's not sticky back paper or anything like that. So just cut your actual badges out nice and carefully, and once you've got them all cut, you can go back to your Pritt stick and again, working off the plan or the pictures online, pick out your spots where these badges go, and same as with the exhaust, whichever side you put on first, just make sure the opposite side is the same height and distance away from the front, so that they match basically. There's no exact spot, so just get both sides matching. Then repeat for the top and bottom wing decals. Get them to match as best you can, and once you're happy with everything, sit back, admire your handiwork, and we're almost there. Probably just a couple more videos and our Supermarine Spitfire will be in the air. So please like and subscribe, and until the next one, you take care. See you soon.